Joe Rogan exposes Bernie Sanders' hypocrisy so badly he ends the podcast.
The secret that makes Joe Rogan so effective is that he takes what many of us are
focus.
feeling at that moment and says it.
Don't you think there's a real issue with what they did?
No.
You don't think that there's a real issue in editing conversations to give someone an answer
Joe,
that's different than what they really answered?
Wait, what? Hold on. How do you argue against that? Wait, hold up. That's a crazy bad position to be against. No way.
This is something that strikes Joe personally. He's dealt with this himself.
No.
Now, should I?
No, but no way. No way he's going to fight this.
He answered?
Because this is something that strikes Joe personally. He's dealt with this himself.
Now, should I sue you if you ask me some stupid question that I don't like, right?
But that's not what
what
happened. This is not just they asked a stupid question that he didn't like.
Wait, but what happened though? What happened? I don't know what happened in the first place.
Should I sue you?
Yeah, but that's not what he's getting.
He is sued.
You're mischaracterizing this. That's not even the argument.
He is suing CBS for this Kamala Harris interview. So do I think, I cannot tell you the number of stories done about me that were not good stories.
Right.
That were dishonest.
It's not just bad stories or dishonest. This is deception at a level that is actionable by law.
Yeah.
That's what a free press is about. You don't like it, you got to live with it. All right?
It's true.
What about the other lawsuit with the conversation that they had with Kamala Harris, where they edited the answers that she had to make it look more precise?
60 Minutes. They were suing 60 Minutes.
Yes.
How do you think Bernie's going to defend this one? And anyone who's objective can look at 60 Minutes and see that they have a sterling reputation. So that dismisses the honest mistake that was made.
Mm-hmm. You look at most objective people will say 60 Minutes has a sterling reputation for investigative journalism. Are they wrong?
But that's not investigative.
Wait. Dude, oh my God. This is like, I'm not going to lie, guys. This is classic. Classic leftist, like far leftist fucking tactics. This is crazy. This is textbook right here.
Investigative journalism, if you change someone's answers. If you ask her a question and she comes with a rambling answer that doesn't make sense, and you edit that out and insert another answer to a different question that seems more cogent.
Especially when this is her biggest interview in the run-up to the election, and this will have a real impact.
Joe, you're walking down, you're walking down a dangerous path.
Wait,
Why? Actual ramifications occur. Why is it bad to take
What's a dangerous path for them?
legal action to prevent that?
Suing media has the impact of intimidating media.
So now we can't intimidate large corporations.
So you can't so they can just say whatever, like with impunity, like regardless of how true it is? What the fuck?
What
the fuck does that mean?
Talking about the problems of massive corporations.
All right, if somebody sues you, all right, let me finish, all right?
Okay.
Somebody sues you, why not you? You could be sued tomorrow, right? Because you are doing this, you're too sympathetic to this.
Right.
And Joe, you did that, and they have a big law firm behind you, and you're going to have to spend zillions of dollars defending yourself. You know what? Next time you do an interview, you say, maybe I'm not going to go in that area.
That's a complete...
Just don't like make a scummy maneuver like that. What the fuck?
mischaracterization of what we're even talking about.
Yeah, it is.
Joe calls this out.
No,
Right?
but it's not that. It's editing things.
There we go. Yeah, get him, Joe.
To make this deceptive editing.
Joe Rogan's my other Oshi, by the way. My other Oshi graduated. So like now I have 3 to watch now. After my main Oshi graduated. It was really sad. Saddest day of my life.
Does that prevent us from talking about controversial topics? No, it prevents us putting literal words in people's mouths.
Joe,
so in deceptive editing, you give people a different perception of who this candidate is than reality.
Right, but you got to explain.
But that's not objective journalism.
I know, but
that's campaigning for that person.
Right, but
would you agree with that?
I don't have those details. I don't know that I agree with your analysis of it. I don't know enough.
I think
so. Bernie doesn't even have the details of this example. He doesn't even know what Joe's talking about, yet he's still defending it.
That's universally accepted that that's what they did.
And you got to tell me why he is suing ABC.
Because they claimed he was liable for rape, and they settled for $15 million, which means they know that they lied.
Let's just talk about the 60 Minutes one first.
No, but it's not just.
We could go to ABC, but I'm not aware of that one either.
George Stephanopoulos said something that he didn't like.
It's not that he...
This is dude, holy crap. Bernie is doing all of the tactics at the same time. This is crazy. He's like, let me jump to another topic. Like, we're on a topic, but let me go to another topic and like let's try to forget about the other topic. Like he gets cornered in one topic, and then he tries to like roach into like a different topic to like hide.
He just said something he didn't like. You're lying about a presidential candidate claiming that he raped someone.
But the point is,
What did Stephanopoulos say?
I can't remember. It was I honestly don't remember. But
And again, Bernie doesn't even know the details, yet he's making claims about it.
Well, I think what he was saying was factually incorrect about the results of one of Trump's trials.
Yep, Joe got that.
all right, guess what? If I were to sue everybody who said things that were factually incorrect about me, I'd be suing people zillions of times.
There's such a big difference in someone saying something that's just not quite factually correct than saying Bernie Sanders is liable for rape and Bernie Sanders happens to be running for office.
Yeah.
But Joe, what you're saying is, look, does media get it wrong sometimes? Absolutely.
Okay.
Should you have the most powerful person in America suing media? What is the...
Well, yeah, if they're lying on purpose, then yeah. The hell are we even talking about? So what, like you can't sue the media? Like the media can just fucking flat out lie about you and just make shit up in order to damage you, and then they should be like absolutely protected from anything. What the hell is this? How is this guy real?
Impact of that. The impact is clearly intimidation. He wants to defund public broadcasting.
Also, it's intimidation because it was intimidation because they fucked up and they fucked up and they did deceptive editing. They fucked him on purpose.
Because people are disturbed by the idea of a national tax-funded radio program that is absolutely biased in one direction. Should this be funded by the taxpayers' dollars?
No, it should not. What the fuck? Why should we have that? That's stupid.
That's the concern here.
Well, because they also would run critical stories of him. This is part, in my view, without getting into any one case.
Without getting into any specific, actual, concrete examples, I'm going to tell you why it's bad to take action on these things.
It's part of a pattern that says, hey, I got the power. Don't you criticize me. You criticize me, I'm going to sue you.
No, it's not just criticize someone you can...
Yeah, he's basically like slaughtering the argument. So basically, they deceptively edited the thing, and they're saying like, oh, he's just suing because they're criticizing him. Like that's not what happened. Like he's not even addressing like the argument at all.
Sue them. It's the threshold is much larger than that.
My concern is when you have media organizations that are purported to be objective and then they say things that are defamatory and factually incorrect, and they should know that before they say it. What other course does a person have other than a lawsuit? And isn't it important that you shine the light on what is a political bias?
Then the way
we're from an organization.
This is the law's responsibility to do something about this, because you're being damaged in some way, and the old method of dealing with this is that you would fucking duel somebody. You'd duel somebody, or you would drag them out back and beat the shit out of them. And like, obviously those are not good things. So like, we say you can't do it anymore. So then the government has to step in and do something about it, which is like the reason you have recourse by lawsuit.
That you would hope would be objective.
Needless to say, I get attacked all the time by right-wing media, right? Every day.
Needless to say.
Needless to say. All right.
Yeah.
I don't sue them.
It's fair.
So you expose them.
But if someone were to come out and claim that Bernie Sanders raped someone and you were running for office, you probably would, Bernie.
The problem is the more people do stuff like that, if you don't have any consequences to what you're doing, you're going to continue that path.
If it was a Democrat president,
I like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is like he's
taking action against Fox News, I bet you would support suing Fox News.
I see where you're coming from. We want honesty in media. But all I can tell you is that the way to respond to the lies, which take place every day, is to take them on.
And how do you take things on if you do not have a court of law?
Yeah, basically. Because how do you take it on if the government isn't going to step in and give you recourse? Then you're basically either forced to take it or you're forced to resort to violence. That's it. So that's why it's the government's responsibility. This is like the one thing that the government should be doing, allowing people to seek recourse from damages like this, like intentional damages.
Law in order that allows you to take them on, though.
We talked about the Constitution. What's the First Amendment? Is freedom of speech, right?
Oh my God, bro, this guy can't be serious. Oh my God. You're telling me like this, guys, chat. You're telling me this guy is like one of the superstars of the left. He's like fucking been working in the government forever. This guy, this is fucking crazy. Chat, I'm getting so fucking, what's the word for it when you're just kind of done? Blackpilled, is that, dude? I'm getting so blackpilled, dude. This is crazy. Like, these are the people that are in charge. And it's like they can't even understand like a basic concept. Like what Joe Rogan's presenting here is not that complicated. I mean, is it? I mean, am I wrong, chat? Like, is it complicated? It doesn't seem complicated to me. Man.
You're right. You're sitting here. You disagree with me. God bless you. Say what the hell you want to say.
It's so tiring, man.
I'll never take that away from you.
Right.
And I'm not going to threaten you with a lawsuit.
You're so good. First Amendment legend, Bernie Sanders.
We only have freedom of speech because we have the parameters that we know when we do cross a line with the law, rather than an organization policing when that line is crossed.
But if you start suing me, hey, Joe Rogan said this. No.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. I've gotten to the point where sometimes I'll see something like really fucking evil and I'll just laugh because it's so fucking ridiculous at this point. Like, I'm not talking about this necessarily, but in general, I'll see something like so evil and I'm just like, it'll just make me laugh that like this is like just standard, you know?
Joe Rogan has this. We found out about Joe Rogan. I'm going to sue Joe Rogan for $100 million. Joe may not talk about those issues in the future.
Well, I'll hear something and I'll just go fucking Gear 5 like instantly.
Okay. That's what I'm saying, Joe.
I agree with you. And listen, I'm not a fan of lawsuits either, which is why I never sued CNN.
Freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequence. I would even argue that the consequence is what allows freedom of speech to exist.
It's true.
CNN.
It's true. The consequence allows freedom of speech to exist because if, again, like I said, the government gives you the recourse to deal with people that are being malicious, because otherwise your only recourse is violence. Everything ties back to force. Force is everything in this world. And the only reason we can have civil society is because we set up rules that we mutually agree on. And if we don't mutually agree, it always goes back to force every single time. Force is like the ultimate arbiter of anything. Geez, Days, thank you for the bits. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Lied about me over and over and over again. And they said I was taking horse dewormer and they altered the color of my face on television to make me look green.
Force.
I could testify, yay, green.
I didn't sue them. I'm not a fan of them. And my response to them was just speak out.
So I just worry.
But I also agree that CBS shouldn't be altering a presidential candidate's interview.
I agree too.
No, it's true what I'm saying if you think about it. Every law that exists is the government using force on your behalf because we don't want you to do it. If you think about it, every single law exists so that the government can handle the force for you and handle it in a way that is more tempered. That's the point of laws, basically. Because if you strip all laws away, all it is you wronged me, so I fucking beat the shit out of you. That's a world of like anarchy, like without laws, right? It's like all disputes are handled through physical violence, right? So government is basically exists in order to control that, so that in effect, it's to make it so that the government should be more fair with the use of force, where you can discuss things and then the force is applied according to the rules that we have set. So it's no longer just based on how strong a person is. Does anyone have any questions about that? It says the use of force is the ultimate executive authority. It's only under threat of violence that order can be maintained. Yes, exactly. All laws are force. Every single law that exists is through force because they're useless without force, right? So for instance, like if I go to your house and I fucking steal your shit, you're not allowed to like walk up to me later and then like kill me. The reason is because the government assumes that role. Right. So then the government basically steps in and says, hey, that was against the rules. You're not allowed to do that. On the behalf of, so say like, let's say like Julio, right? Like there's Julio. And then I go into Julio's house and I steal his TV. Right. And I flip him off. I say, get fucked, bitch, or like whatever. This is my TV now. Right. And Julio cannot like later, like after I had already stolen it and like after I taunted him, he can't like walk up to me and cap me. Right, because that's like that would be like a according to our laws, that's not a reason for like a person to use like to be able to use force. So the government uses force on Julio's behalf because the government says, well, Leaflit, that was not in the rules that we've established. So on Julio's behalf, we are going to you and we are fucking arresting you, right? And how do they arrest me? Arresting me is through force. So like they come to me and they say like, we're arresting you, Leaflit. And I say, fuck off, don't care, right? Then they have to use force basically to take me in. So like everything is through force, right? Every single law, no matter like how small, even if you jaywalk, right? They give you a ticket. The ticket is enforced by force because if they give you a ticket, they say, this is $20. And I say, fuck you, I'm not paying for it. Then they come for me. You see what I mean? Okay, well, your fine is now $200. I'm like, oh, well, fuck you, I'm not paying for it. Then someone comes to my house and then they take my car, right? You owe $200, so we're going to repo your shit. And I say, oh, no, you're not repoing my shit. Well, too bad, we're doing it. Right? See, it's always, everything distills down to force no matter what it is, no matter how small it is, basically. There are things like freezing bank accounts where it's not really force, but convenience. No, that's still force because it's something that belongs to you, right? Like the bank is basically holding your money for you, and they are basically forcefully like locking up your account, right? They're taking it from you. Yeah. It has been seized, basically. Blackwell says that's why the patriarchy will always exist. I feel like it would take. I feel like I don't know if that's true, Black Wolf, but it would take some crazy fucking science. Like there would have to be like some world in which, I don't know, we're all like fucking cyberpunk or some shit. Like that's the only time that wouldn't be true. Yeah. I could go into that. That's like a whole fucking different rabbit hole that a lot of people aren't going to like, but it's very logical. I do understand the argument though. Blackwell said we wouldn't be human anymore. Yeah, true. The reason that patriarchy exists is because men have a monopoly on force. So like realistically, when it all comes down to it, when you distill everything down into like elements, basically, all of women's rights only exist because of men. That's the argument, basically. When you distill everything down, right? Like we said, like force is the ultimate arbiter of everything. So if you distill everything down to force, then that's why that exists. And again, like this isn't an argument of like what should be, right? Again, we're not making an argument of like it should be like this. We're making an argument of what it is. See what I mean? And people don't like it because they conflate the two. They think that, oh, you say what it is, therefore you think that's what it should be. And those two are not the same. But it's kind of hard for people to understand that, right? My wimples, despite that having spent a third of my life in conflict zones and having seen pretty horrendous shit, my main takeaway is that people in general are good and wants to do good. Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. I don't know what happened. It's just like I feel like a lot of people have been gripped by evil. The classic might makes right, followed by the winners write history. Like, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that's a good thing. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm saying that's what it is. That's what the world is. I'm not saying that that's the ideal, like what I would personally like. But I'm stating it as in a fact of reality. It is what it is. Gurus, yes, exactly. The argument is pretty strong, I think, for that philosophy. Shai says you must first identify how reality is before you can change it. Yes, exactly. That's why I try to understand like what the world is, because that's how you enact change, right? How can you attempt to like prescribe a change that will solve a root issue of the world if you don't even understand what the world is? And I'm not saying that I understand everything about the world, but you try, right? You try to do your best. But if you don't even try, then how can you? The thing is our ability, so one thing that we do have as how do I explain it? Like the greatest gift to humanity is our ability to understand and innovate, right? So we can through innovation and through understanding, kind of like you need a little bit of both, right? Because you need like the wisdom to be able to move forward in like a good way. But we can push society towards like a better world, right? The video has
I don't know enough about it, so I'm not going to say what isn't.
Thank you.
Okay. All I know is that 60 Minutes
Thank you.
is a well-respected program. Do they make mistakes?
That's not a mistake.
All right. I don't know enough about it, so I can't.
I understand.